Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 5-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings on Christmas Day. Excited to get into this one. Christmas Day, always one of the best DFS slates on the year. Of course, you're around family and friends. Hopefully this year with the circumstances you're able to be. But of course, you always get to watch basketball all day long. If not, or if you can sneak away from the family for a little bit, you get to watch some basketball spread out throughout the day. Some good games on this one. So excited to break it down. Before we get into it, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you enjoy the content at any point throughout the video. And I have released multiple Patreon packages over there on Patreon, on a DFS package where you can get access to my premium projections, my data sheet where I break down statistics, including things like rebound percentage, assist percentage, usage rates, team stats, which teams are giving up which stats the most, and some play contact stats, things like half-court stats, putback stats, transition stats, so that you can get an edge in the field, figuring out which teams are struggling in transition, which teams push the ball a lot, my core plays, my injury impact insights, breaking down injuries on the day, which players that's going to help, and my NBA Discord chat access where you can ask me any and all questions leading up till the main slate. And then lastly, I have started a little bit of a thing over on Twitter. If you want to follow me over on Twitter at KJK_DFS, where I'm going to start tweeting out my favorite projected plays on the slate every day. And last night it was Mason Plumlee. I projected him for 7 times X his price tag. He came in at 3,700 on DraftKings and he put up 33 DK points. I believe 31, 33, and if you played him, I'm sure you would have been happy with that. It went out there and put up a very good game. So go ahead and follow me over on Twitter at KJK_DFS, where I will be tweeting that out every single night. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. Breaking down the first game, the New Orleans Pelicans taking on these Miami Heat. Looking at my favorite plays in this one, as far as, the Miami Heat side of the ball, they do get a tick up in pace because this New Orleans team is a team that plays fast, so we do like to target them oftentimes with guys like Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Lonzo Ball, young guys that get up and down the floor. So some guys in Miami we can definitely look to be targeting. Jimmy Butler, of course, at 8K. He's going to get that tick up in pace, and he did play 44 minutes last game, I believe. The DraftKings game logs are a little messed up right now, so I can't really rely on this information to be accurate. I do have the DK Live app pulled up to try to reflect on some of these players as well, because not all the information is up to date currently. Jimmy Butler last time out played 36 minutes, put up 44.25 DK points against that Orlando Magic team, and it's not like Orlando is any much better of a matchup than the New Orleans Pelicans, so I do think that he's a viable option, the top dog in this offense. Bam Adebayo isn't going to get the best matchup because he has to take on Steven Adams, who is a very good defender. So, while he is going to be in an up-tempo game, not really sure that I'm all too excited to go there. Brandon Ingram had a very, very big opening night. He comes in at 8-3 in this one, and he put up 50-plus DK points last time out, really going off. Put up 61 DK points, taking on those Toronto Raptors. And ever since Brandon Ingram came to these New Orleans Pelicans, he's really, flourished in this offense. I think he just had to kind of get out of the LA because he was really struggling to actually get the ball and establish his role, playing next to LeBron, that kind of thing. So Ingram, a guy that we definitely could target at 8-3 early on in the season, because I would expect for his price tag to keep on climbing if his usage continues the way it is. It's just a matter of there's so many hands and mouths to feed in this offense at times that it can be difficult, because we do have other options where it might be a little more narrowed down as we move along this Christmas Day slate. But some of my favorite options for sure would be Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram. Zion Williamson is a decent play. I think 8-1, he's priced pretty appropriately. Could he blow that price tag out of the water? Of course he could, but I think I will be looking to other guys at the forward position as we move along the slate. Lonzo Ball at 6'5 is priced pretty appropriately, but I will say that he has looked real good early on. His shot looks really good. He's much more of a three-point threat now after working on his shot from that, ugly shooting form. If you've watched him play this year, he's shooting with confidence and he's shooting just not even thinking about it from beyond the arc. So he's going to be interesting to watch. I just think his price tag, unfortunately, is a little appropriate. He could get there, but I think we could capitalize more on it. Guys that are a little more underpriced, a guy like a JJ Redick who's 4'4", that can go out there and get hot from behind the arc, and his price tag doesn't really reflect his upside. So it's not that Lonzo Ball's a bad play. I just think I'd rather go to a guy like JJ Redick at the cheaper price tag. And then Goran Dragic and Tyler Hero. Goran Dragic really stood out to me in my projection model opening night. He's 5'3" this time out. Last time out, let's see if I can find him here on the DK app. He was coming in at a 5'1" price tag. So, he got a slight bump up to 5'3", but nothing crazy. And he put up 37.5 DK points, and I'll be interested to see how he's looking on my final run on my projections because his role in this offense, I do think that he can surpass that price tag pretty easily as well. So that's a quick little breakdown on that game. I mean, I don't think I have too much interest in it compared to others, but you got to mention the guys that we do have interest in moving further along in this one. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I always struggle to pronounce his last name, but Giannis playing the Golden State Warriors at 10-9 grades out to be one of the top plays on the slate for me. A fantasy point per minute beast. So we all know what Giannis is capable of, and I think opening night he literally had like 20 DK points at halftime, and I was just sitting there and telling myself, I'm like, I've seen this before. Giannis is going to end up just going off in the second half and somehow ending up with 60 points, and that's pretty much exactly what he did. He ended up with 57 DK points on the night, and that's just what he's capable of. Even when he's struggling, he's probably going to get you there, and I don't think he's priced up enough to where we have to worry about it too much early on the season. He's going to get up to 11K plus at some point. And with him, it's really just all about if his team can stay in the game. And when looking at the opposing team, because it's really just a matter if they blow out the opposing team. And after Golden State getting blown out on opening night by Brooklyn and having to face these Milwaukee Bucks, the line comes in at a 9.5 point spread for these Milwaukee Bucks. So that would be my only thing that makes me a little scared about playing Giannis. However, with that being said, I'm going to completely just give you the green light because it's Christmas Day. I think they're going to keep, if it starts to become a blowout, I think they're going to keep Giannis out there a little longer than they typically would, just because it's Christmas Day. These are nationally televised games. The whole world's watching. They want to keep their stars out on the floor. So I would give you the green light as far as Giannis is concerned. Steph Curry on the other side of the ball, of course, is a great play. He really stands out just because, he's the guy for Golden State. He's the one individual stud. A lot of these teams that we talk about, they have multiple studs. Even Giannis, his team has guys like Drew Holiday, like Chris Middleton, that could dig into his usage. Golden State has Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins, who are both good players, but I don't think they are going to quite take away the usage like a guy like a Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton. Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins, not exactly on-ball playmakers or threats. So Stephen Curry expected to get the majority of the load. Of course, Milwaukee is a good defensive team, and a lot of the concentration is going to be on slowing down Steph. 11th best against point guards, or 9th best against point guards, and 11th best defensive team so far. But that's early rankings. Don't weigh too much heavily on that. But I think we just know from prior knowledge this Milwaukee team is a good defensive team. So something to keep an eye on there. Chris Middleton was a guy that I mentioned on opening night, was 200 price. I think that still kind of applies a little bit. He's 7'4" now compared to on opening night where he was, if we can find him, they only have the one position eligibility on the DK Live here. So he had 58.5 DK points at a 7K price tag. He played 38 minutes. And once again, that was a tight game, so it's just a matter of if this game stays tight. But at 7K, he blew that price tag away, and I expected him to. Now he's up to 7.4, so he got a slight price increase, but still not enough to scare me off. I think the low 7s, we can continue to target Chris Middleton with some confidence. Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins are going to be the workhorses in this Golden State team. I expect them to get a ton of minutes just because they're the young guys. So I do think that they're going to be viable plays every time out. I expect them to literally get up to close to 40 minutes every night that they possibly can if the game's close. And they didn't exactly get worn down in that first game just because it was a blowout with Brooklyn. So I would advise playing some Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre if I end up in the high upper 6K range needing a forward with some upside. And then Dante DiVincenzo and Eric Pascal will be the last two guys that I want to mention in this one. Dante DiVincenzo is a guy that really popped in my projections as well opening night. The only issue is he was only 4K and now he's 4.7. What he put up for a stat line was very, very good, and a 4.7 would not do that justice as far as his opening night because he did score 30.75 DK points, 27 minutes. Can he get there again? Yes. Do I feel more confident about playing him when he's 4K as opposed to 4.7? Yes. So we'll have to see how he grades out in the final projections, but he is a valid guy on the cheap end. And the guy that I'm most excited to play, I think, is Eric Pascal, because Eric Pascal will get the start again, will get the minutes without Draymond Green in this one. And he absolutely burnt us the last time out. I don't remember how many TK points he put up, but it was very bad, is all I can tell you. Definitely a snowflake in the DK lobby, and he was popular, so I like to play these guys that were popular last time out because they leave a sour taste in people's mouths, and then they don't want to play them, and you can get them way lower owned than they should be in the next slate at times. Do I think Eric Pascal is going to be low owned in this one? Probably not. I would think not, but you never know because people really do get upset when they play a guy and he just goes out there and does nothing. And then Marquise Chris is the other guy that you could definitely have some interest in playing, filling in some of the big minutes for Draymond Green. Moving further along, Brooklyn at Boston. This one, I'm really excited to play some Kyrie Irving, if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, because after the whole... One thing about NBA DFS that you kind of got to keep your tabs on is it's kind of like a reality TV show at times with these guys in the NBA. They get all mad about maybe playing a former team, or they're not happy with the coaching staff, or something like the situation we have going on with James Harden in Houston right now. They just want out. And you kind of have to be aware of those things, ironically, because while it is a sport that we rely so much on fantasy points per minute and minutes that the guy's going to play, a lot of times you can get some extra upside just from a narrative or something that someone tweets at another player or on Twitter or something like that. It's actually pretty funny. So Kyrie Irving, the narrative right now is he's left Boston. He wants to probably go back and show these guys, he was the stud and they're nothing without him type of deal, even though I'm sure Boston fans and Boston feels like they're better off with Kyrie or without Kyrie. I think he's going to have something to prove to these guys, and it's going to be on the national television stage, which Kyrie loves as well. Nationally televised games is a thing in NBA as well. Talking about narratives, that's a thing. 2.5 point spread for these Brooklyn Nets, 2.5 point favorites with a 226.5 over under. Now, of course, he doesn't get the best matchup taking on the likes of defense and guys like Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, very good defenders. But I just don't care because Kyrie Irving is matchup proof. He can dribble around anyone, has some of the best handles in the league, and I like him. Kevin Durant I like as well. I think that Kevin Durant didn't play quite as many few minutes as he can and how he's capable of because of that blowout in the opening game. And I think that this might be a good time to jump on him because, once again, nationally televised. I think this is the first true game where they run Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving out there for full run. So those two guys are obviously my top priority. I like Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart as well. Jason Tatum, of course, you like, but he's priced more appropriately at 9.3. I had mentioned this on opening night, and I had said Jason Tatum's the guy that can go off. But if you look at the price tag, he's 9.3 compared to Jaylen Brown, who is 7K in this case. I think he was 6.7 on opening night. And he went out there. Yeah, he was 6'7". He played 38 minutes. He put up 52 DK points compared to Jason Tatum, who put up 49. And I said Jaylen Brown literally has as much upside as Jason Tatum, and he's not priced like it. And that trend's going to continue in this one because the same rule applies. I think Jaylen Brown has just as much upside. He just hasn't seen the price increase, and that's when things get interesting. And I think the same rule applies for Marcus Smart, honestly. I mean, Marcus Smart is a guy that can be a little ugly. He's more of a defender. Sometimes he's shooting and you look up at the game log and he's gone 1 for 7, but sometimes you look at the game log and he's gone 7 for 7. So he's that guy. He's a little streaky, but he's got the defense, and they're going to need him out there taking on the likes of Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. They need the defense. So Marcus Smart, I think, has a ton of upside in this spot as well. And once again, the price tag doesn't quite reflect it like it does in a price tag like Jason Tatum. And don't forget about Jeff Teague, who's the new starting point guard for these Boston Celtics. I was really high on him opening night at only 4K just because of the price tag. I was like, this guy's now in a starting role and he has a 4K price tag, and now he's only 4.2. So it's not like he got a big price increase. I'm wondering if his big performance is going to make him very popular, but it would kind of make sense if he is. I mean, he played 25 minutes. Now, he did put up 36.75 DK points over only 25 minutes, so that might be a little bit of a stretch as far as like, getting up to 36 again. But getting up to the high 20s, 30-point range, I think is very realistic. And he's still only about 4K. So Jeff Teague, definitely a good cheapy option on the low tier. And then on the Brooklyn side, a guy that I think is a good cheap option is Taurean Prince, who has kind of the sixth man role off the bench. This Brooklyn team is very deep, so they have other guys as well. But at only 3-4, Taurean Prince is a guy that can definitely go out there and blow this price tag away. And a pretty good wing defender, a pretty good 3-point shooter. He's a guy that can stroke from 3, and if they put him in the game and he gets hot with that half-point bonus on DraftKings, I think that you could see 4 or 5 threes from Taurean Prince and his price tag blown away pretty easy. So would have an interest in him. Moving on to the Dallas-LA Lakers game. We got 2 games left in this one, guys, to break down this whole Christmas Day slate. Luka Doncic taking on these Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to continue to have a ton of interest in Luka because there's no Kristaps Porzingis, which means he's the man. Everything's going to go through Luka Doncic. After putting up, somewhat of a dud on opening night, I say a dud. I mean, he still put up 50 DK points, 49 DK points, but I think we're expecting more from Luka, and I think we can definitely get more from Luka on this slate, particularly on Christmas Day, on the big stage. All the usage going through Luka, no Kristaps, so I like him a ton. Anthony Davis and LeBron James, of course, you have to have interest in. It looked like LeBron tweaked his ankle last game. I guess he said he tweaked it pretty good, but he's going to be good to go for Christmas Day, so no worries with him missing the game, just a slight little tweaked ankle there. And of course, you got to have interest in him at 10K. Looking at LeBron's stats from last year, I had talked about his assist percentage led the league. I mean, he's a guy that was assisting. When he was on the floor, he was literally assisting on approximately 50% of his team's buckets. I think it was 49% looking at LeBron here and going over to the assist percentage row. Yeah, 49.06% of buckets while LeBron is on the floor are resulting from an assist by him. So, yeah, LeBron very clearly involved. Obviously, now they have Dennis Schroeder, a little bit of a different look, but it's never going to change. It's always going to be LeBron's team. Any team that LeBron goes to, he's practically running the point. So I still like LeBron James in this one. And then, of course, AD at 10-3. Playing both of these guys, I honestly would not do on this slate just because we have so many guys priced around this 10K range that I think you're going to need them to hit that max ceiling. And while they both could hit that max ceiling, I think it's pretty unlikely. I mean, this game comes in with a 6.5-point spread in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers with a 229.5 over under. So, I mean, they're implied to score 118 points approximately. And, I have a feeling it's either going to be Anthony Davis or LeBron James doing the majority of the work there. So that's just a little bit of a disclaimer. I think it's a little bit limiting your upside if you're playing both of these guys. I probably want to do that. I'd stick to one. And if you're asking me which way I lean, I would go LeBron James for the slight. Well, I want to be careful there because, so here's the thing. Anthony Davis is actually where I'm going to lean, and this is the reason I'm going to lean, because these Dallas Mavericks don't have Kristaps Porzingis. So that means that Anthony Davis is going to be competing with the likes of Dwight Powell. I mean, they could throw in Boban Marjanovic if they really wanted, but he's going to be facing off against guys like Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber pretty much. So Willie Cauley-Stein, maybe they could throw in there, but I don't think he's going to slow him down. So I actually would lean Anthony Davis. Don't want to get ahead of myself. On paper, you would think it would be LeBron based on the stats and everything and the price tag decrease, but I want to slow my roll there because it's definitely Anthony Davis accounting the matchup. So like them. I like Montrezl Harrell at only a 6K price tag. I think that's underpriced for him. He's a guy that's a fantasy point per minute beast. We've seen him go off in the past. I mean, at only 6K with a solidified role in this team, I do think that he's a good option. Kyle Kuzma off the bench at 5'9", got priced up a bit. I do think that he's still a viable option because he's going to get all that usage with the second unit. Something I mentioned, if you haven't seen my videos before, something that I think is a very good tip for NBA DFS is not to always play the starter. A lot of times the guys off the bench that come in with the second unit actually get more usage because they're not competing with the starters for the usage. So when Kyle Kuzma comes in off the bench and he's not playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, he's going to get a ton more shots than he would if he were playing with them. So I do like Kyle Kuzma. And then Maxi Kleber on the cheap end does make sense as a value play because he comes in at 3.5. I guess he was dealing with a bit of a sore knee on opening night, and I think that maybe the day off could help him in that case because I think that might have limited him just slightly, but only 3.5 and filling in. I do think that he's a good value play. And speaking of value plays, we got a few in this last game, a few that I'm real excited about playing. Looking at Jokic at the top, definitely not a value play. He comes in at 10-1, and looking at the pace that this game is expected to play at, you can see this game comes in with a 223 over-under, so by far the lowest total on the slate. So honestly, paying up for a guy like Nikola Jokic in this one, I'm not really too sure that I want to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to be paying up for Kawhi Leonard or Paul George either. Just because we have some studs at similar price tags in higher pace games. So honestly, I would be advising you maybe not to play these guys. Of course, lineup construction is a thing, and it's going to depend on figuring out some, opening night we had some cheap center options that I really liked, and it's a matter of if we really end up liking any of them in this slate. I do think there's a couple viable guys in that Brooklyn-Boston game that we didn't even get a chance to touch on, that like a Tristan Thompson or a Daniel Tice, etc., that you could be playing, and then DeAndre Jordan and Jarrett Allen. Of course, both of those situations, they're kind of sharing minutes, but they're cheaper price tags with guys that have higher upside. So the limit appeal is down, but maybe could outshine a guy like Nikola Jokic, who's at 10-1 in a slower pace game. So not to ramble, but that's where my thought process is at. But I do have a lot of excitement in a few guys in this game. The first one would be Lou Williams at 5.2 on DraftKings. Lou Williams, the six-man scoring threat that he is at only 5.2, that's too cheap. If you've been playing NBA DFS for a while, you know Lou Williams can go out there and just absolutely go off. There's been times, and this is like repeating broken record. Lou Williams starts out at like 5K. Someone goes down on the team, he's expected to step up more. He doesn't even need someone to go down on the team, really. He just needs a few minutes. If he gets to 25, 30 minutes as the sixth man on his team, he will go off at a 5.2 if he's able to hit some buckets. And I think that he provides a ton of upside at his price tag at 5.2, so I definitely want to make sure that I highlight him. And then Paul Millsap is the other guy at 4.9 for Denver. I do think that Paul Millsap is too cheap. I think he can definitely blow away this price tag, and he's the other guy that I'm excited about playing because, once again, not exactly the highest pace game, but at only 4.9, I think Paul Millsap's similar to Lou Williams, and Paul Millsap's probably going to get more minutes than Lou Williams. Can go out there and, or maybe similar minutes, but point being, same price tags, same production, same upside, and same price tag being too low scenario. The last guy that I would mention in this one would be Luke Kennard. We got to keep an eye on Marcus Morris Sr. status. If he's going to be back, that's going to limit the appeal for Luke Kennard, but I do think that Luke Kennard is a viable cheapy option as well at only 4K. He's similar to Lou Williams in the sense that he can go out there and get hot and shoot threes and keep it going. So he could definitely blow away that 4K price tag as well. So that is my overall breakdown of this NBA Christmas slate. Excited for it. It's going to be a fun day of basketball. I wish you guys all the best of luck. If you enjoyed this content, if you could please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content I upload. That'd be greatly appreciated. And then if you do have interest in all the tools that I offer over there on Patreon, you can check those out. Linked below in the description. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I wish you all the best of luck. Happy holidays, and go win yourself some money.